Now, today's video is a compilation of episodes that have been done in the past, so that if you want to watch all the videos at a go, now you have an opportunity to watch them. And by so doing, you'll be able to see the flow and the logic from the first episode to the last episode. And because it's a compilation of various episodes, it's longer than the length of the videos that you have known me for. In today's video, we are going to look at another exciting topic, and that is Jehovah's Witnesses in crisis, clear signs of an imminent collapse. For decades, Jehovah's Witnesses have been steadfast in their beliefs, claiming to be the only true path to salvation. But today, cracks are appearing in the foundation of this once unshakable faith. Behind closed doors, the very structures that upheld its dominance are starting to crumble. The witness crisis is not just a series of isolated events. It's a perfect storm of internal scandals, mass disillusionment, and a new era of information access that is making it impossible to ignore the truth. From the scandals that rocked the organization to silent forces accelerating its decline, we will expose how this religious movement, once so confident in its standing, is facing a reckoning. I'm sure some of you that have been dealing with Jehovah's Witnesses for a long time, you know how confident Jehovah's Witnesses have been, showing that they are the only ones that have the truth. Other religious organizations don't have the truth. Everything has been corrupted. The name of Jehovah has been corrupted. The Bible has been corrupted. And they themselves have come to restore the name of Jehovah. And they made a lot of comments, laughed at the Catholics with child abuse scandals. They laugh at other religious organizations for misuse of funding, for living luxurious and elaborate lives. For a very long time, many people were able to believe them, that they were actually the Holy One, and they were even able to attract people. But as we shall show you in this 4-part series, you will see that there are 4 main aspects of the Jehovah's Witnesses that is showing the imminence of their collapse. They've been talking about the imminence of the end of the world, but it looks like we will be seeing the imminence of the end of this organization. They've been talking about Armageddon for years, but it looks like we will be seeing the Armageddon within the Jehovah's Witnesses sect. In episode 1, we will explore how the first cracks in the armor are beginning to show. In episode 2, we'll take you behind the curtain of the multi-million-dollar scandals that are shaking the foundation of the Jehovah's Witnesses. In episode 3, we'll look at the growing number of people walking away from the faith and why this exodus is accelerating. And finally, in episode 4, we will examine how the digital revolution is quietly tipping the scales, fueling the collapse. Welcome to episode 1 of the Jehovah's Witnesses Crisis, Clear Signs of an Imminent Collapse, entitled Cracks of the Jehovah's Witness Downfall Begin to Show. In this episode, we will uncover the initial cracks in the Jehovah's Witnesses organization. Imagine a fortress built to last forever. Its walls are strong, its defenders unwavering. For over a century, this fortress stood tall, proclaiming its strength to the world. But now cracks are spreading and the foundation is crumbling. Let's begin looking at the radical transformation that altered its identity. As you know, the Jehovah's Witnesses have made many fundamental changes to their doctrine, and they call this the new light. They've made so many changes that even themselves are not sure of what they used to believe in the past.
Let's be quite frank. Over the last few years, we've had a few changes with regard to the events that occurred during the Great Tribulation. And if you've been in the truth for a while, sometimes it's a bit hard to remember, was that what we used to believe, or is this what we believe now?
Although he's saying that there were only few changes, but his other colleague says there have been a lot of changes.
Well, I'm sure we all agree with this fact. In recent years, there have been a lot of changes. Even since the last annual meeting, there have been many changes.
The challenge is that These same doctrines that held the Jehovah's Witnesses, that made it very strong, is what is bringing it down. This is the first thing that has created a crisis in the Jehovah's Witnesses. The doctrine that made them look strong are the same ones that are bringing them down. The question that we are asking, how can the truth keep on changing? If people have the truth, why do they keep changing the truth? The Jehovah's Witnesses are known for their strict adherence to what they call the truth. Yet, over the years, their identity has undergone radical transformations, raising questions even among loyal members. In the 1968 book, The Truth That Leads to Eternal Life, the organization boldly stated, within a few years at most, the final parts of prophecy relative to the last days will undergo fulfillment. That's The Truth That Leads to Eternal Life, 1968, page 9. This gave a clear agency for the members. However, recent literature like What Can the Bible Teach Us 2015 avoids such definitive claims. What has kept the Jehovah's Witnesses on their toes is this sense of agency that the end is about to come, Armageddon is about to come, and most of you who are studious know that the 1975 was actually the climax because they believed the world was coming to an end. People sold their homes and just began preaching door to door, and when the end did not come, they were disillusioned. If you are enjoying this program, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notice bell so that every time I produce a new video, you will be notified. If you've noticed, in the last few years, they've actually been toning down from this sense of urgency that the end is about to come. And they are trying to balance this tension of trying to still maintain the sense of urgency and also trying to explain that the end might actually not just be right now. They may still have a few more years to go, and because of that, they have to reorganize themselves, still create that sense of urgency, but at the same time, let the members know that that end may not just be right now. It might come anytime, but probably they still have a few more years to go before the end. And this is what we see in this drama that they've acted, basically trying to shift the focus from the agency to actually some sense of stability that the members are supposed to focus on. This is a clip from a two-part series drama of the Jehovah's Witnesses entitled Applied Bible Principles or Apply Bible Principles. Part 1 of this series focused on a sense of urgency that the world is about to come to an end. However, Part 2 seems to be toning down on that urgency. And we have the young man there whose back is against the camera, asking questions, saying, if the end is very far, why did I have to change my life? So you know what these Jehovah's Witnesses do? When they decide to change a particular doctrine, they will begin to prepare the members with the publications. They will use their work. They will use the Watchtower magazines. And then they will couple it up with JW Broadcasting, where they will highlight some of these. And to support that, they also act some dramas to be able to support. And basically, they're using a multi-pronged approach to be able to begin to change the thinking of their members.
It all begins with the theme. As Brother Morris pointed out at the 2017 Regional Convention, one-word themes are determined years in advance. That one word will guide those preparing the program. Dramas, the most labor-intensive part of a program, are developed 5 years in advance. To prepare scripts, the teaching committee cooperates closely with the writing department in working with a team known as the Drama Review Group. These experienced writers develop scriptural plots that teach lessons in harmony with the convention theme. Scripts are extensively researched and then sent to Audio-Video Services, or AVS, for production. All of this work has to begin early. But how is the rest of a convention program developed? Each year, the teaching committee carefully considers reports from around the world from branch committees and world headquarters representatives. The theme is submitted to the entire governing body for approval. Then, work begins on scripture themes for each day of the convention. Once this general framework is established, talks are conceived and additional lines of reasoning are chosen. Attention is given to how to present ideas in a variety of ways. Could a scriptural discussion reach the heart more effectively by means of an interview or a video? This detailed sketch is all worked out before the teaching committee assigns teams of writers. Regarding production of the meeting, methods of Gilead School are employed in the approach to study.
Now, unfortunately, these members are so indoctrinated to believe that the governing body is a discreet and faithful slave who speaks for Jesus, and therefore whatever they say is true. So they keep believing everything. But whenever a member of the Jehovah's Witnesses begins to question, there's a term that I've heard from the former members of the Jehovah's Witnesses, which they repeatedly use, and they say, when I woke up. So immediately they begin to wake up, they can no longer remain in the Jehovah's Witnesses, implying that all you members of the Jehovah's Witnesses are actually fast asleep and you don't even realize what is happening. Now, so what is the problem with this change, this shift in thinking? The problem is that without a concrete timeline, many members are questioning the agency that once defined their faith. Let's watch a clip of this drama.
Both of you have shown me how close we really are.
I have to take this quickly, but I'll see you on Friday.
We just want to be sure you are focused on the right things.
We can all start thinking too much about when the end will come.
But I'm just being alert. Isn't that what you taught me to do?
Alert is good.
And if the end is really so far off, why did I need to change my life now?
You're asking the right questions. There was a moment in our lives when we focused too much on the when rather than the why we were serving Jehovah.
This is the answer.
Since all these things are to be dissolved in this way, consider what sort of people you ought to be in holy acts of conduct and deeds of godly devotion.
And that is a very, very big change, because they've been known and members have been motivated to drop everything that they are doing because the end is about to begin. So how would they reconcile this shift from sense of agency to some sort of stability, and that the end may not necessarily be just now? Now, if your life has been preoccupied with the end in mind, everything pointing to the end, the sense of agency, what do you do when that end does not come? In the Watchtower, May 15, 1984, the governing body stated, if the wicked system of this world survived until the turn of the century, which is highly improbable, but today, such bold predictions are avoided. Instead, the 2020 Watchtower Study Edition emphasizes the vague spiritual goals, leaving long-time members feeling uncertain about the future. For decades, Jehovah's Witnesses emphasized the imminent end of the world, urging members to prioritize their faith above all else, but this agency has significantly diminished. Another example is the evolving interpretation of Matthew 24, verse 34. Initially, this generation referred to those alive in 1914 who would witness Armageddon. In the Watchtower, June 2010, this teaching was redefined to include overlapping generations, a concept that many find confusing and unconvincing. This aspect of the overlapping generation, and as you can see on the right side there, you see that this was a magazine that came out that showed that the generation that will not pass away. So because of this challenge and this problem of their predictions, the Jehovah's Witnesses have now changed to overlapping generations, which is basically a very, very confusing concept, because overlapping generation is actually a concept that you find in economics, how the changes will affect different generations. This concept has actually been brought into the Jehovah's Witnesses. I really don't know how these people even are able to sleep at night with all these changes. I don't know whether every time they're sleeping, they're thinking of how they can be able to cover up for unfulfilled predictions that they've made in the past. Another sign of trouble is the organization increasing desperation to recruit young people. Special programs and JW broadcasting episodes repeatedly urge young members to dedicate themselves to full-time service. Let's look at a quote from Anton Morris, no longer member of the governing body, what he said when he was still in the governing body. In October 2017 JW broadcasting episode, governing board member Anton Morris III implored young members, "This is the best time to serve Jehovah. Don't waste your youth chasing after fleeting pleasures." But the organization's strict policies, including discouraging higher education, are pushing many young people away.
Has the governing body changed its position regarding the pursuit of higher secular education? No. We feel that all of the cautions that we have addressed in the past are still valid. I have long said, the better the university, the greater the danger. The most intelligent and eloquent professors will be trying to reshape the thinking of your child.
So many young people are actually moving away from the Jehovah's Witnesses. As we shall see in episode 3, just the number of young people that are leaving the faith. Some studies have even shown that the Jehovah's Witnesses has the highest attrition rate of young people born in the sect actually leaving the faith than any other religious organization. So they are paying the price for that. They do not see the point of bringing up children in the world that is about to come to an end. They also don't want the members to have a lot of children. That shifts their attention from serving Jehovah. So they want to continue to use them as cheap labor, not even cheap labor, as free labor to serve the organization in the name of Jehovah. Here are the 3 problems that the Jehovah's Witnesses have. Firstly, they take time to have children. They have very few children. And thirdly, you have these young people walking away. Now, what is the problem? This has created a crisis within the organization because its future, its sustainability is based on the number of young people in the organization that is coming up. Let's listen to this clip by Jeffrey Winder urging young people to join full-time service.
Well, young brothers and sisters, we want you to be able to get involved in this exciting work as early as possible. And so, I have an exciting announcement to read. It reads this way. We are pleased to inform you that the governing body has decided to reduce the minimum age requirement to enter Bethel service or to assist with theocratic construction projects from 19 to 18 years of age. We thank you for your years of service, and to contemplate what Jehovah has been able to accomplish with your help is just fantastic. And now we thank you for training the next generation so that the work can continue and Jehovah can continue to get his work done. Now we know that you desire to continue in the work, but as we get older, we know that there is a need to train the next generation so Jehovah's work can continue.
A leaked 2021 letter to elders revealed that retaining young members is a major concern, with the governing body emphasizing programs to encourage pioneering as an alternative to secular ambitions. Data from the lightoverdark.com highlights similar challenges, pointing to internal reports of low retention rates among younger generations. And therefore, this agency to ask young people to be able to join.
Perhaps you think of someone older who has been preaching for many years. But of course, many were very young when they started. In fact, in the mid to late 1940s, 30% of the missionaries sent from Gilead were under 24 years of age. They were young, energetic, full of life, willing to accept assignments around the world, and they accomplished incredible things. For instance, in 1943, we were preaching in 54 lands, and the number of publishers was still relatively small. Jehovah blessed their hard work and zeal. In just 5 years, the number of publishers worldwide nearly doubled. By 1953, it had doubled again, and the reach of Jehovah's organization expanded to 143 lands. That 10-year burst of activity laid the foundation for Jehovah's organization to grow into what it has become today. Over 8 million people spread across 239 lands, reaching billions with the truth.
Even the changes that have been made in grooming, wearing pants for women, and not wearing ties and jackets at meetings for men, except for those that are playing a role on the program, is all an appeal to attract young people. The fourth aspect that is affecting the identity of the Jehovah's Witnesses is a decline in membership growth. Jehovah's Witnesses were known for rapid global expansion, but recent years have shown a significant slowdown in their growth. The quotation from the 2023 Yearbook of Jehovah's Witnesses reported a global growth rate of just 0.4%, the lowest in decades. In countries like Japan, Germany, and Canada, membership has plateaued or even declined entirely. Contrast this with the 1980s, when growth rates often exceeded 8%. Just for you to visually see what is happening there is that in the 80s, annual growth rate was 8%. And so this is the growth the way it was, if you look at this bar. Now, if you look at the 2023 Yearbook of the Jehovah's Witnesses, talking about 0.4% in 2023, just look at how low this is. That's a sign of trouble, not just coming, but trouble is already at the doorsteps of the Jehovah's Witnesses. So the leaders, I'm sure, are worried. And as we've mentioned in the past, for the organization to be able to make such changes, massive changes, rapid changes, dramatic changes, is a sign that things are not as good as they appear to be. The problems are worse than we think they are, because for them to make such changes, such drastic changes in so short a time and also so rapidly, we are having new light coming up every now and then, is a sign that things are very bad for the Jehovah's Witnesses. The decline and the collapse of the Jehovah's Witnesses is actually imminent. Such stagnation suggests that the organization's traditional methods of recruiting are no longer effective in an increasing secular world. Almost every video that I've produced and uploaded on YouTube, you have a member of the Jehovah's Witness asking a question, rhetorical, and say, who is preaching the message of the kingdom? Now, the very fact that they are going door to door preaching, they think that they are the ones that are preaching the message of the kingdom, when there are actually more effective ways of reaching out to people. And this priding themselves of knocking door to door to validate that they have the truth is actually a deception that is added on top of another deception. There are many effective ways of reaching people than going door to door. In this episode, we've explored the early cracks in the Jehovah's Witnesses fortress, radical doctrinal changes, a shift away from agency, and struggles to retain younger members. So what is coming up in the next episode, episode 2? In episode 2 of The Witness in Crisis, Signs of an Imminent Collapse, entitled Inside the Multi-Million-Dollar Scandals Rocking Jehovah's Witnesses, we will explore how scandals, financial struggles, and eroding trust in the leadership are tearing at the foundation of the Jehovah's Witnesses. The question that I have for you is, do you think the Jehovah's Witnesses downfall is imminent, or it still has a long way to go? Or is it possible that the Jehovah's Witnesses is going to weather this storm of changes and impending decline? Is the organization going to survive and reorganize itself and continue to grow? Put your comments below about what you think of the future of the Jehovah's Witnesses. We'll see you in episode 2. Jehovah's Witnesses often portray themselves as a humble, non-profit organization, but the reality is far from that image. Just imagine an organization that repeatedly condemns the systems of this world, an organization condemning members that are focusing on the material world instead of commitment to the Jehovah's organization and Jehovah, and yet to realize, imagine a shock that some member might have when they realize that the organization that they think is humble and a non-profit that does not promote the accumulation of material possession is actually worth billions of dollars. I'm sure for those who realize that, this will be shocking to them.
No wonder Jesus made the very direct comments at Luke chapter 17, verse 32, when he said, "Remember the wife of Lot." And there is the lesson for us. We are living at a time when it is vital that we do not look back in a figurative sense. What a sobering reminder that we should put Jehovah God first and seek his approval before family, money, and things.
According to Light Over Dark Ministry, the Watchtower Society is estimated to be worth billions of dollars, larger to the real estate holding and financial investments. Let's look at Jehovah's Witnesses' hidden wealth. Despite immense wealth, rank and file members are continually asked to donate and contribute their time and money to sustain the ministry. Many members are unaware of the organization's vast financial resources and the true extent of their real estate empire. Every time I study the Jehovah's Witnesses, I look at their history, how they've risen from humble background, from a small movement of Bible students, and how they've become a global empire. It actually amazes me in terms of the genius that went into developing this simple-looking religious organization into a global financial empire. The Jehovah's Witnesses actually require their members to contribute free labor to the organization as part of their worship, as part of their commitment to Jehovah's organization. They also claim that they don't go begging for financial resources like other Christian denominations and organizations do. Let's listen to a clip from the September 2021 broadcasting presented by the former member Anton Morris III, speaking about this very fact.
We're going to talk about money. Now, the fact is we never beg for money, but that's not to say we can't talk about money in Jehovah's organization, the earthly part. So it is long-standing there is a balance here. You know, going back to the Watchtower a very long time ago, we have never considered it proper to solicit money for the Lord's cause after the common custom, referring to Christendom. It is our judgment that money raised by the various begging devices in the name of our Lord is offensive, unacceptable to him. It does not bring his blessing either upon the givers of the work accomplished or the work accomplished. So we do not need to be coerced into giving. We gladly use our money to support kingdom activities.
However, when you continue watching this video, you will see Jehovah's Witnesses actually literally begging and asking members to contribute more and more of the financial resources and their time.
But he said none should appear empty-handed. So that takes in all of us, whatever our circumstances are, whether at Bethel or in the field. Jehovah doesn't approve coming empty-handed. See, So profound thought there, and something to reflect on so that we don't find ourselves, when it comes to contributions on a monthly basis or whatever, empty-handed. Well, I'm doing so much here and there. Well, money meets a response in all things, and you have to take that into account, even if we're in the poor range. Now, if we really love him, we're going to observe his word. Now, that means not just carrying out the kingdom, putting our time and energy into it. It also means money. See, we are willing to donate money to support the worldwide work. We're not ashamed to admit that this takes money to have these things operate.
I hope you are enjoying this program. To show your appreciation, like, subscribe, and hit that notice bell so that every time I produce a new video, you will be notified. And then you can choose whether to watch it or not watch it, or to watch it later. There's a claim by Light Over Dark Ministries that a significant amount of the cost of construction actually comes from free labor.
They'll shame others for having a bake sale, but selling luxury apartments? Nah, that's fine. You also need to consider the incredible amount of money being made after selling kingdom halls, taking into account that 60% of the costs came from free volunteer labor from the members. So why is the Jehovah's Witness organization doing all this? Is the whole religion a scam? Yeah, but they're not in it for the money. This just looks like desperation. They need to branch out for one reason: survival. When your membership in first world countries is dropping, leaving your support coming from the poorest nations, it's going to hurt the bottom line. Not to mention, when you shame advanced degrees and promote working part-time, it's no wonder your donations are lacking and you can't make ends meet.
One of the criticisms that the Jehovah's Witnesses has faced is lack of transparency in their financial dealings. Jehovah's Witnesses operate with almost no financial transparency. Unlike many religious organizations that provide annual financial reports, the Watchtower Society does not publicly disclose how donations are spent and where their wealth is invested. Light Over Dark Ministry highlights the organization's aggressive property liquidation. The kingdom halls around the world are being sold with proceeds sent to the Watchtower Society. Members are often told that the sales are due to streamlining or the need for funds, but the real reasons remain unclear. So these are just some of the pictures of kingdom halls being sold and being consolidated for various reasons. This lack of transparency has raised suspicions among both members and outsiders. Why is the organization with billions of dollars in assets continually ask for more donations? And why are so many local congregations being forced to merge or close entirely? So here are other properties that have been reported to have been sold. As you can see, the properties here. Here's the report that said the Hong Kong religious group sells US 14 million in property as home market. That has been reported. And there is also this building that also has been sold. And you also have another one there. Another challenge that is facing the Jehovah's Witnesses at the moment is just mounting lawsuits that the organization is facing in different countries. While the organization wealth remains significant, it is being steadily drained by lawsuits and legal settlements. Over the past 2 decades, Jehovah's Witnesses have faced a growing number of lawsuits related to child abuse and negligence. For example, in July 2023, a victim identified just as ND received a $40 million settlement for child sexual abuse claims against the organization, as reported by Shehin Gordon. And according to Light Over Dark Ministry, the Watchtower Society has paid out hundreds of millions of dollars in settlements to victims. These lawsuits have not only damaged the organization's reputation, but have also placed a significant financial burden on their financial resources. Let's listen to a clip from Berion Pickett's YouTube channel outlining the number of lawsuits that the Jehovah's Witnesses sect is facing in different countries of the world.
On March 9th, 2023, there was a mass shooting at a Kingdom Hall in Hamburg, Germany. a disassociated member of the congregation killed 7 people, including a 7-month-old fetus, and wounded many others before turning the gun on himself. Why? The country of Australia considers the shunning policies of Jehovah's Witnesses to be cruel and unusual punishment. Why? The country of Norway has cut off funding to Jehovah's Witnesses and deregistered the religion. Why? The state of Pennsylvania has started court proceedings that involve issuing subpoenas to all the elders and all the congregations in the entire state. Why? The Spain branch of the Watchtower Society is suing a group of people for calling themselves victims of Jehovah's Witnesses. Why? In Mexico, an association of Watchtower victims is filing papers to have the government deregister Jehovah's Witnesses as a religion. Why is this? In Canada, over 200 people are petitioning the court for the right to launch a class action lawsuit against Jehovah's Witnesses. Why? What's going on in all of this? Oh, I can go on. I really could go on for some time. But the point is, what does all this mean for you if you are one of Jehovah's Witnesses, or if you have family or friends that are in the organization? Do all these problems constitute the persecution that Jesus said his disciples are to expect? Or is all this proof that Jehovah's Witnesses are not Jesus' disciples at all?
According to Top Class Actions, since the 1990s, the Jehovah's Witnesses and their legal entities, the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, have been named as defendants in lawsuits alleging they covered up allegations of child abuse. The group kept track of members accused of child sex abuse in secret database, according to investigations by the Atlantic. Tens of thousands of names and addresses of individuals in its ranks that had been accused of sexually abusing children. The total number of Jehovah's Witnesses lawsuits alleging the organization cover up child abuse is unknown, but many dozens have been filed, according to the report by Newsweek. A lawyer who has represented 24 current and former Jehovah's Witnesses who say they were abused by church elders told reporters that these lawsuits are just the beginning. Let's look at other issues and challenges that the Jehovah's Witnesses is facing that is denting its image. The Australian Royal Commission into institutional responses to child sexual abuse revealed that Jehovah's Witnesses had records of over 1,000 alleged abusers but reported none to the police. In one case in Montana, the Watchtower Society was ordered to pay $35 million in damages to a victim of abuse, one of the largest judgments against the organization to date. These cases are not isolated instances, but part of the global pattern of cover-up and negligence. The organization mishandling of these cases has led to widespread public outcry and legal consequences. What is the impact of these scandals on members? These scandals have not only damaged the organization financially, but also eroded the trust among some of its members. Many Jehovah's Witnesses are now questioning the integrity of their leaders and whether their donations are being used ethically. Some of the members that have watched my videos have actually complained and criticized the organization and how much that it is interested in just accumulating wealth and not so much being interested in members' welfare. I hope you are enjoying this program. To show your appreciation, like, subscribe, and hit that notice bell so that every time I produce a new video, you will be notified. And then you can choose whether to watch it or not watch it, or to watch it later. Light Over Dark Ministry notes that the increasing number of members are leaving due to these scandals. The combination of financial secrets, lawsuits, and questionable practices has created an environment of doubt and mistrust. So the more members wake up to the realities the organization faces an exodus of disillusioned individuals. This trend is further amplified by social media and online platforms. where ex-members share their experiences and expose the inner workings of the organization. Now, you know that in the past, before the internet, before social media, the Jehovah's Witnesses was able actually to control the information flow to its members. But now, because of the information age that we are in, and because of ex-members and many websites and social media channels exposing the inner workings of the Jehovah's Witnesses, particularly from leaked information, from leaked documents and leaked videos, the Jehovah's Witnesses image is actually being affected. That well-crafted image is no longer protected as it used to be. And because of that, the members are having access to information, because in the past and even currently, the governing body has written in their publications and in their videos, JW Broadcasting, showing and warning members not to believe what they hear from the media, basically trying to fend off and trying to protect themselves and make sure that members do not believe what they hear in the media. Here's a clip by one of the members of the Jehovah's Witnesses actually explaining why members should not believe what is reported in the media, even the outcomes of court rulings.
You have a bottle on your shelf that's marked poison. Do you need to open it up, take a swig, to see if it really is poison? Believe what the label says. Now, for the purpose of this discussion, let's consider another way we can test out words, and that is to pay attention to what the words mean. Remember, we talked about media reports and how these are very often carefully worded to avoid a lawsuit. So suppose a report indicates that someone has been charged with a crime or that he's being investigated. All right, you have two words, charged and investigated. It doesn't mean he's guilty. Or suppose that someone is convicted and put in jail. Well, that would apply to our young brothers in Korea, wouldn't it? They were convicted and jailed. And what was their crime? They refused to kill someone. Did they do anything wrong? Or someone is found guilty by men, as Jesus was. It doesn't mean that he's guilty in the sight of God. So, brothers, we really have to think about these things. We may read that a person or an organization was sued and then settled out of court. Does settling out of court mean that they were guilty?
The theme for this program is, as Jehovah's sheep reject the voice of strangers. When he, that is the shepherd, has brought all his own out, he goes ahead of them, and the sheep follow him because they know his voice. They will by no means follow a stranger, but will flee from him, because they do not know the voice of strangers. So what's the desirable quality? Sheep listen to the voice of their shepherd and reject the voice of strangers. But what does the voice of strangers say on this subject? Don't trust the faithful slave. He will mislead you. And who often have the loudest voice promoting this false message? Apostates.
These are just few of some of the challenges that Jehovah's Witnesses is facing, and we will continue to update you as the information becomes available. Let's look at what is coming up in the next episode, even episode 3. Jehovah's Witnesses are at a crossroads. Their financial empire, once a symbol of stability, is now under threat from lawsuits, scandals, and growing demand for transparency. In episode 3, we will explore another critical aspect of the organization's decline, the exodus of thousands of members, and why younger generations are rejecting the faith. Stay tuned as we continue to uncover the decline of the Jehovah's Witnesses. If you have enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notice bell so that every time I produce a new video, you will be notified. And then you can choose whether to watch it or not watch it, or to watch it later. If you think that another person will find this video informative, please don't forget to share it with as many people as you can. If you have questions, clarifications, even challenges, please don't forget to put them in the comment section below, and I'll be able to respond to you as soon as I can. For episode 3, click on this link. And if your interest is just to dive into the Jehovah's Witnesses practices, beliefs, and doctrines, then click on this link.